There are 42 primary weapons in Helldivers 2, and only one proper way to measure the perplexities of their power variances, and that is a tier list, but not just one, 3, for every single faction and every single primary weapon. Now, most weapons are going to be used to clear chaff. If they're good at that, they're going to be a decent weapon overall. Some are used for utility, and others are going to be used in some rare instances to take out the higher level enemies, the heavies and sometimes even elites. We'll begin with my favorite gun for the Automaton chaff units. R63 Diligence. With 165 damage, view it as having the ability to one-shot any chaff unit for automatons 25 times, essentially. That goes for rocket striders, devastators, billy bobs, and berserkers. The only exception would be the scout strider, but those don't spawn if you're on difficulties 8 and higher, so technically speaking, this thing is godlike for the higher difficulties. It is a light pen weapon, and some folks don't like that, but understand, for automatons, you're better off hitting headshots in the first place, and only having to hit one is a pretty good thing. Also, try the Overwatch sniper playstyle with this weapon. It is a ton of fun. To me, easily S tier, also insanely slept on. It's in the free warbond for freaking gosh sake, and people don't know how good it is. On Illuminate, the only thing it's good at is taking the legs off of Voteless and turning them into crawlers, making them slower, and eventually bleed out in that process. That's all it's got going for it. Not great on Overseers, horrible on the meat bobs, and it's okay at shields because the fire rate is pretty low, but the damage is good-ish. So it's just Voteless, really. And there's way better options in that sense. For the bugs, also C tier. If you're on lower difficulties, it's pretty good if you get Hunter Seeds, but if you get a Battle Spear Seed, level 7 difficulty or higher, you can't damage the face, and on Commanders and Alpha Commanders, very low time to kill. Not good on Hive Guards. The main thing would just be killing Hunters, Pouncers, Wilburs, and Warriors. Variable. 85 damage, 49 round capacity. You can fire all those bullets in a single shot, allowing you to one-tap pretty large enemies. You can also do a volley, shooting 7 shots each. The weapon itself for Illuminate is A tier. I say that because you can one-shot Harvesters, which is freaking insanity. You can two-shot Meat Bobs if they're close enough. You can one-shot the legs of Volus if they're close enough, and you can, in volley mode, take out the Schnitchbot 9000. Now, one thing to mention will be the drag. That is, your bullets doing less damage as they travel. It's how the game refers to it. I don't care about real life. The game says drag. We're saying drag. Also, light armor penetration, which isn't the detriment to the weapon, so to speak, but if it was medium pen in different modes, that would be nuts. For the automatons, it is D tier. This faction shines a bright light on all of its flaws. The roughly 25 ergonomics, turning your gun into a sledgehammer you're holding from the handle, which makes it very tough to maneuver between targets and be precise. Gotta land more than one shot to headshot devastators. You can go into volley mode, saving yourself time, but wasting more ammunition in the process, which might be a fair trade-off to you, but it's still kind of rough. And in the ultimate mode, the only real use is taking out maybe the legs on a Scout Strider if it's that big a deal, but also the heat sinks on Hulks, which those require roughly 24 bullets. Also, you'd be behind them to hit the shot in the first place. For the bugs, I'm saying C tier. At least you can one-shot the wagon on a charger, which is kind of fun to do. You can use 2 volley modes to take out Alpha Commanders and Commanders, and it's okay on the chaff enemies that aren't Hive Guards. Coyote. Incendiary ammunition, medium armor pin, 75 damage per bullet, and 45 rounds per magazine, and the ability to equip a 10x scope for some reason, which is kind of cool. For the Illuminate, I'm saying A tier. A single bullet lights a Volus on fire, and that one tick or cycle of fire will kill them most of the time. For the Overseers, it takes roughly 3 shots to light them on fire, and you have to do that twice, so 2 ticks of fire will kill those guys pretty much every single time. On Meat Bobs, no comment. And it can take out a Stinger because it does have medium pen. It's also okay-ish on the Schnitchbot 9000. On bugs, it's B tier. For Wilburs, Hunters, Pouncers, and sometimes Warriors, 1 bullet applies fire, and that's all you need to kill them. They're done after that fire damage does its work. But the issue is you don't get too many Hunter Seeds, and instead you get spammed by Hive Guards, Alpha Commanders, and if there's too many of those guys, you get a lot less value from applying fire. Because yeah, you can apply the fire damage and wait it out, but that's just going to take forever. So that's the main reason. And we're not even getting to too many of the special seeds or sub-factions such as Pred Strain, which you don't stagger stalkers and they run you down. Land your headshots, you kill them quick. Well, hey, good luck doing that consistently. And for the Gloom Bugs, it's actually pretty good on those guys. Against automatons, it's C tier. It can do stuff, just not particularly that amazing. I will say it does one-shot Billy Bob's, the basic bot, to the chest because the fire damage kills it. For everything else, fire damage will be pretty much inconsequential. Accelerator rifle. It shoots a burst of 3 plasma shots with medium ammo pin, and it's kind of neat in the sense you have essentially no drag. It's actually 0.1. That's cool and dandy and stuff, but it's got atrocious reload speed and only 3 bursts per magazine. This means you get a lot less effectiveness in many situations. For the automatons, it is C tier, even though I kind of like it in a sense. You can take out gunships in 1 burst if you land every shot on the engine. Take out the chinny guns on a Factor Strider in, I believe a burst and a half. So if you switch targets, you can take out both chinny guns with 1 magazine. And also does pretty good on the back of tanks if you hit their heat sinks. And it also hulks and stuff. So it's fun in that regard. It can also make up for the lack of other things you have in your kit. But the fact it's so bad in every other aspect is brutal. The main issue is, of course, lack of ammunition in the magazine. And you can't make it where you only fire 1 shot. You have to fire all 3. Versus squids, it's in a tier that only a trash panda could love. The lowest one possible. Not useful on essentially anything, considering the ammo investment on an overseer is 2 bursts, or I guess a burst and a half, but good luck flicking consistently. And for stingrays, it's a lot of ammo as well. Harvesters, gotta land probably every single burst of your entire magazine on the joint to kill it. And doing that is far easier said than done. For debugs, also trash panda tier. You can kill a commander in probably 1 burst. Alpha commanders, I believe it's 2. And even if that's the case, it's still a lot of investment. Let's say it's 1 burst for alpha commanders. They run away, they don't spawn minions. Folks that play in a group don't really notice they exist for the most part. And you can kill charger wagons, but it's a lot of ammo there as well. And for battle titans, if they're already weak, you can kill them by breaking their sacks underneath. Still not that wild. I guess one thing that folks might like is you can destroy Shrieker Hotels and Spore Spewers from a decent distance with roughly 5 bursts. Exploding Crossbow. Medium armor pin with 5 arrows per reload, and I believe 1 in the chamber making it 6. It's one-handed, which can be a bit misleading in the sense that if you don't aim in, apparently it doesn't explode in the ground properly. Keep that in mind. Against Terminids, it's S tier. For all subfactions, you have a decent or amazing primary weapon, and normally it's going to be good or above. Then you factor in the ability to close bug nests from distance while being accurate and having a decent enough fire rate. That utility alone is ridiculous. Your grenades are now free to do whatever else you want them to do. When facing automatons, it's A tier. It takes multiple shots to kill devastators, 2 to the body, 1 to the face if you land a headshot. It does take Billy Bob's out back to the pasture, because it can kill multiple in a pretty big radius. So if you face those guys a lot, it's chill. Same thing applies to Scout Striders. The blast radius is great against those guys. On Illuminate, it's A tier. It can kill Overseers in 2 explosions, meaning if you hit near them, the explosion kills them if you do it twice. And that also means that they're shielding themselves. For Voteless, you can take out a lot of those guys in a decent radius if they're kind of clumped up, and it can kill Meat Bobs kind of quickly. Also takes out Stingrays and can kill a Harvester, but that one easier said than done. It does break the horn rather fast though. That being said, you'll lose out on the need for utility, and if you get swarmed, you can't fire because you might just die. Torture. It's a flamethrower that has 100 fuel, and it's A tier for the squids. Turn the ground to a crockpot and set it to almost instantaneous combustion and perishment. This thing can be disgusting versus Voteless. If you hit the ground, light it on fire, they walk into it, they die very quickly. 1 cycle of fire will kill almost every single Voteless. Sometimes they live, it's kind of weird. Now, the ground overseers are in the same boat. If they can't fly, they will fry if they're in the fire and they stay getting ticked more than once. The fire dot does decent damage to Meat Bobs, but the main damage lies behind getting close enough and hitting with the direct fire of your weapon. So just hosing them down, essentially. On the bugs, it's S tier. There's only 2 subfactions that aren't great when using Flamethrower, and that's going to be the Bowel Spewers and Nursing Spewers, because they can win the DPS trade, something serious. But for everything else, you're doing work against Hive Guards, Hunters, Wilburs, Pouncers, Warriors, Alpha Warriors. Alpha Commanders, kinda. They run away though, still. They can also kill Chargers. Not very quick. Oh, Charger Behemoths aren't very quick. Chargers are okay. Impalers, okay. And you can kill Titans. For the Automatons, it is C tier. Even though it can kill a tank in no time flat, talking maybe a second and a half, It can take out faction striders in probably a third of its magazine, and it can kill hulks, but that one's a bit tough to do, not gonna lie. It doesn't matter because the risk to reward ratio is kind of tough. If you get lucky positioning wise, it's insane. If you're having to walk towards these enemies to kill them in the first place, it's no longer as insane. And that's one thing that videos may be a bit misleading on. Still really fun to use though. And if the fire on the ground works correctly, it does shred devastators and it decimates Billy Bobs. Amendment, 200 damage, light armor pin, 20 round capacity, and essentially going to be a worse version of diligence for ergonomics and ammunition, but have a 10x scope option with a bayonet. So for automatons, it's still S tier, only having 5 less bullets, not a huge deal. For bugs and squids, it will also be C tier. Potentially a bit higher than diligence in certain aspects, but the bayonet's kind of cool though, because you can stagger alpha commanders and stalkers. If it's base stalkers though, they're going to tongue you, so be careful. Blitzer has got medium pin, and it shoots auto-aiming tendrils of electricity that do a lot of damage if they all hit the same target. For bugs, it's B tier. You can one-shot alpha commanders, albeit not very consistently, and when it hits the enemies like it's supposed to, it feels very nice. On hunters, on hive guards, the whole 9 yards. It gets a bit brutal when you're getting ran down by stalkers. Multiple. So let's say the Pred Strain, for instance. You have the Pred Strain hunters hitting you. You can't cycle and hit them fast enough because of the slow fire rate. And don't forget, you sometimes can't target enemies because a corpse is in the way, or a plant. Against the Illuminate, it is C tier, because it's just not good at anything really. Voteless Overseers, Meat Bobs, Flying Overseers, Snitchbot 9000, shields. You ain't breaking those things anywhere, anytime this year. So what does it do? In opposition with automatons, it is trash panda tier. It's not good on devastators or anything above that, but it's okay on Billy Bobs. You're infinitely better off just shooting them with weapons that require you to hit your shots. This thing, trusting it, will be the death of you. Purifier, medium armor pin, charge up, which can take a little bit of time if you're being honest with ourselves, and the damage is 500. What does it mean exactly? I don't really know. I just know it kills things pretty quickly. Fire rate's 1000, meaning you can click it very fast or bind it to your scroll wheel, which I can't, mine's pretty slow. For the Illuminate, S tier. You 2-shot Overseers in a big radius, 15 round magazine by the way, that's a very important fact to keep in mind. Take out Volus in a large radius too. And the thing is, you don't have to fire a whole hog shot, which would kill you instantly, by the way. Instead, you can just charge up a little bit and kill anything that's in your close vicinity, and then max charge and kill things further away in a larger vicinity. Takes out stingrays. If you charge 1 shot rapid fire, you can kill it, but 2 shots is more advised to save ammunition, and it can just stagger harvesters endlessly. Against the bugs, it's A tier. Good on every single unit, including battle spears, nursing spears. It staggers alpha commanders, stalkers, and it kills the majority of chaff units in a single max charge shot. And you don't have to max charge to kill certain things either. Hunter jumps at you, go with like a 1/10 of a charge, and if you land the headshot, they're dead. Also, it's not too bad against shriekers, but it is kind of tough to land the hits in the first place. Versus automatons, it is S tier. You 1-shot Billy Bobs. You take out gunships in 2 shots to the engine, max charge. Kill devastators in 1 max charge shot to the face, or 2 to 3 to the body, and hitting multiple in a pretty big area on top of that. You can also kill hulks from the front, which applies to crossbow as well. I just forgot that. If you hit behind the legs and near the heatsink, the explosion itself will kill them in due time. Take out tanks. If you max charge in the rapid fire, it's pretty quick. And hulk heatsinks, same thing applies. Max charge and rapid fire. It's freaking versatile. Pretty bad against the chinny guns on faction striders, but it can kill them. And it's good against the underside, especially if burst damage otherwise. So quasar shot to 1 door, and then charge up and rapid fire, kill it. Scorcher, 200 damage, medium armor pin, and 20 round magazine, and it costs about 1400 plus medals in the base warbond, which is expensive. This thing is A tier versus Illuminate, mainly because you don't have to aim that much to kill a bunch of stuff. Overseers, hit them in the shield, they die fairly quickly. Voteless, I believe going for the Jondals is still the best bet to cut them in half, otherwise I don't think it one-shots them. Meat Bobs, it's alright, takes down stingrays, breaks harvester horn, You get the gist. For the automatons, it is B tier. A lot of people saying it's amazing. It cannot headshot automatons, or at least it doesn't do it efficiently for berserkers. And if it can headshot, it doesn't one-shot them. It takes a lot of bullet skill devastators, berserkers, one-shots Billy Bobs, but that's not really life-changing. It can take down gunships if you hit their main body in one magazine roughly. If you go for the engine, it's a bit faster. And it can kill tanks and the same things you can with purifier, but it just doesn't have the same oomph. You can't conserve ammo the way you can with purifier. For the bugs, it is also B tier. I view this thing as a worse version of purifier, considering you can fire purifier faster. You can also charge the shots and do pretty good damage on top of that. Diligence counter sniper, 200 damage, medium pin with 15 round capacity. It's currently bugged, making the aim feel not that great because you have ergonomics, handling, something's broken. If it was fixed, it would still be B tier for automatons. On lower difficulties, it's going to feel pretty good, taking out the jondals on scout striders. But on higher difficulties, the lack of ammo will be noticeable, and the medium pin doesn't do a whole lot, especially being that low with the damage. For the squids, D tier. It takes 2 shots to kill overseer heads, and that's a bit of a unfortunate aspect, and the lack of ammo will be noticeable on the vote list. For the bugs, C tier. Lack of ammo will be noticeable, and medium pin does not make up for that in the slightest. M90A Halo Collab Shotgun, 605 damage, light armor pin, with 6 shells in the tube of storage, and 48 shells capacity total. Rounds do reload, and you can shoot, reload, and keep shooting until you're out of ammo, with very little downtime. Fire rate's decent as well. It is B tier for the bugs, and in my case, it's because it's amazing on the Stalker Pred strain. Aside from that, not too wild, but given how you can focus that strain indefinitely, and this is, to me, one of the best weapons for it, I think it deserves a higher tier on the list. It's essentially all it really does, though. It can splooge hunters, which is sick. It kills off commanders in 2. It kills commanders in 1 for close enough. That's pretty much where it starts to just not do a whole lot. But like I said, it's amazing on stalkers. It can stagger them. It can one-shot to the face from distance. It's pretty wicked. I like it a lot in that sense. For the automatons, it's D tier. It's a shotgun. Shotguns that have buckshot aren't particularly that amazing. And other guns that don't have buckshot aren't either, but we'll get there eventually. On the squids, it's D tier as well. The buckshot means you'll be very inaccurate at killing overseers once you even strip their chest plate, which is rough, and you don't have that much ammo to be dealing with the horde of voteless. Eruptor, it's got heavy armor pin, 455 damage. I don't know if it includes the shrapnel on that, but it does send out shrapnel in a 360 cone around what you hit, which can damage it more than the initial impact. And you got 5 round capacity. When you shoot, you got to chamber the next shot and continue on from there. For the automatons, one moment, it is A tier. You can 2-shot hulks to the visor. Easier said than done, but in doing so, it lets you take Stalwart and still have a weapon that can take down hulks and one-shot gunship engines. I believe it one-shots or 2-shots chinny guns on faction striders, and it's pretty good against Billy Bobs that are in a horde. For the squids, it's towards the top of B tier. It's a good gun, but one thing I can't stand about it is when you fire, you have to re-rack it before stowing the weapon. You didn't always have to do that, but they changed it to where now you do. And this means I gotta sit there through a pretty slow re-rack to shoot the weapon. It does 2-shot overseers. It kills a decent bit of voteless in a clump, although not the most consistent in that regard. And it can kill meat bobs in, I believe, 3 shots. 2 if you get really lucky somehow, maybe. Breaks shields fast as well, and takes down gunships in 1 or 2 shots. So it does well, and some folks may like it more than I do. I got grievances with it. Versus the bugs, it is A tier, getting hard carried by the ability to close bug nest. That utility is so freaking good. You can damage chargers because you have heavy pin, but it takes forever to kill them through the armor. If they're missing their armor on a piece, it still takes a while to kill them, considering how much damage it is doing. It can one-shot Alpha Commanders, which is really good, and also one-shot Hive Guards. Pacifier, no Vin Diesel. 50 damage, 40 round magazine, medium armor pin, and it tries to stun stuff, but often you'll find yourself killing things before they ever get stunned. I'm not sure if it's a bug, but whatever the case is, this weapon is trash panda tier for every faction. You can't even 2-shot headshot devastators if you're perfectly accurate. Takes you 3, no matter what, because of breakpoints. and you're trading off damage to stun things when you won't be stunning things. Deadeye, 300 damage, medium armor pen, and 8 bullets to be stored to get fired later, with rounds reloading, and the reload itself is very slow. Considering for the bots, it's B tier for that reason. You'll be sitting there going for headshots, the thing that is wiser on Devastators and whatnot, and in doing so, it's just going to take you 1 bullet. If you go for the body shots, it takes you a lot more than that. Now, if you're hitting the midsection on Devastators and Berserkers that have it being shown, the red area, that's going to be 2 shots, which can be useful for Berserkers themselves. Now, medium pen is always revered as an amazing thing for certain factions. On bots, it can be good. In this case, you can kill chinny guns on Factory Striders decently quick, I'd say around 4 bullets, and take out the gunship engines in probably the majority of your ammunition stockpile in the gun. Now that sounds good, but factor in missing. Factor in having multiple gunships. That's where it starts to seem a bit lackluster when you have the reload speed being this slow. Now it's freaking fun to shoot. Sounds good. Bolt action, or in this case, lever action, is just a visually appealing weapon. But the diligence is just miles above. Same thing with other marksman rifles. For this faction, at least. On squids, it's C tier. The one thing it does is pretty cool is one-shot flying overseers. But this gun has a unique ability to simply miss. When you're on target, pinpoint, frame perfect, pull the trigger, the bullet can phase through enemies. And for overseers, that feels terrible. And honestly, it's not particularly great against anything else. It can kill stingrays, but it takes a lot of rounds, and your fire rate's not too fast. On bugs, it is D tier. It takes you 2 shots to kill hive guards, alpha commanders, and even commanders. I expected a 1-tap on those guys. But from the distance I shot at, it was 2. And obviously, you won't be that equipped to handle the horde. So what good is it really? It's fun, though. It is pretty fun to shoot. But it's less fun getting overran by a gang of Wilburs. Plasma Punisher, 250 damage, medium armor pen, and 10 round capacity. Except the damage is a lie. It's currently bugged, doing roughly half what it's supposed to, and that puts it in the trash panda tier for every faction. Jar 5 Dominator, 275 damage, medium pen with 15 rounds in the magazine, and the bullets themselves are jet propelled. I believe they mean water jets, and more equivalent to a squirt gun. They don't go very fast, they go far, but they don't go very fast, and they have decent drop, making it kind of tough to hit things that are moving. For the Illuminate, it's B tier, if you're focusing on headshotting overseers, because in that case, it will one-shot them. But landing it can be a little difficult considering the low ergonomics and slow projectile speed. Also account for the baton overseer sprinting at you with their body cam turned off. It's pretty scary. Now, if they do that, you can shoot them in the chest and stagger them, and they won't really kill you. But the less headshots you get, the less useful it is. On the bots, it's B tier. The chaff clear is good. 1-shot devastators, 2-shot to the legs. That's cool and dandy and stuff. But you will begin to notice just how slow the bullets move, and that they're not really hitting where your red dot is placed. More so, it's going to be between the green dot laser and your red dot reticle, which is something to account for. It can take out other stuff, gunships, chinny guns, and blow up tanks in the back, but it doesn't do that insanely quickly to where it's going to raise it up in the ranks. It's a good weapon. If it had faster moving projectiles, it'd be higher in the list. Against the bugs, it is C tier. You have medium pen, you have really high damage, but you're still not killing things that require medium pen all that fast. Hive guards, nothing shorter than 2 shots. Bile spewers, on higher difficulties that have medium pen for the face, same deal. So what benefit do you really get for rocking the Jar 5 for the bugs? Reprimand, 125 damage, medium pen, 25 round magazine. This thing's B tier for the bots. You can one-shot devastators, but drag is a decently major factor. I think probably past around 70 meters, headshots no longer one-tap. And you also don't get the ability to have too crazy of a scope, which would be kind of cool. So those are things to keep in mind. Now, medium pen means you can kill a lot more stuff, which is nice. Do be warned that trying to take down gunships in the sky is tough. Single gunship will probably cost you upwards of your entire magazine because of human error and stuff. Versus the bugs, C tier. It's going to be decent at horde clear, but not too great at anything else. On the squids, I'm going to say B tier. Voteless will get mowed down. One shot to the leg, they're crawlers, you know the spiel. And it's decent against overseers. Can take down gunships, although the drag will be noticeable. And snitchbots shouldn't be that big a deal either. Double-edged sickle, also known as the decal. 55 damage, and you scale between having light, medium, and heavy armor pen with infinite ammo. The downside is you basically have to wear fire armor, because as you scale in armor pen, you also start taking a lot of damage. Burn damage. Laying down will mitigate a lot of this damage though, but still wear fire armor, otherwise you won't have anywhere near as fun. For the bots, it's A tier. You can kill Hulks insanely quick, and if you focus on Hulk seeds, that's going to be the main threat. And man, is it a ton of fun. You'll be taking out Devastators, mowing through Billy Bobs, destroying gunships. You will want to bring a supply backpack and or have a stim jockey, a person with a stim pistol, just jamming you, and also avoid trying to kill factory shredders. You'll be there for a month and some Sundays. Not advised. For the squids, C tier. It can kill stingrays, will take a long time. It's not particularly crazy against overseers. They're going to be able to have good silence on you, and you're also getting ran down by a horde, so it's tough to mitigate the damage taken. You're just going to be running through stims more often than you would versus the automatons. You know what I mean? For the bugs, also C tier. It can be fun to use. The issues are the horde factor, so having to handle all that kind of stuff, and also taking a while to kill alpha commanders, hive guards, the whole 9 yards. And you don't really kill chargers fast at all either. That's kind of a bummer, especially not charger behemoths or even impalers. So it loses a lot of the enjoyment factor and effectiveness as well. Breaker shotgun, 330 damage, light armor pen, 16 shell capacity that can be changed to 13 or 26. Do understand that the weapon customization in the current state is not game changing. It's more so just good stuff for quality of life. So it won't make a weapon go from being alright to amazing. It just makes it a little bit more fun to shoot in most cases. Now this weapon on the bots is C tier. Even though I enjoy shooting it, there is the issue of it being buckshot, which means you won't have consistent kills even from, let's say, medium range, 50-ish meters away. And that is rather unfortunate, and a light pen means you don't have too many other avenues for damage to be applied. If it was medium pen, that would be nuts. But it ain't, so it ain't. For the bugs, also C tier. No stagger on stalkers, and no medium pen to handle the hive guards. You're also facing a lot more of the tankier enemies on higher difficulties, namely, I guess alpha commanders aren't that big a deal because they, again, run away. It is cool that you can two-shot a commander close range, melee, and that deheads it. Also, the melee staggers it, and it's just a fun thing you can do. So if you're using it on level 7 difficulty and below, keep that in mind. For the squids, C tier. Barely. It's good against voteless. That's the main thing. Shotguns are not very good on overseers. Slugger. 280 damage, medium pen with 16 shell capacity, and 60 shells total. I don't believe you can change the scope to have more zoom, at least not to the point that you can toggle between the optics, and that's kind of brutal. For the automatons, it is D tier. This thing is pretty rough to hit shots from distance. I'm talking just around 50 meters, and there's just far better options for that. And the medium pen, like I've been saying, doesn't make up for the lack of that ability. Now, would it be fun to do a full clear having multiple folks rocking the shotgun? Maybe, so give that a gander. But in terms of its overall effectiveness, not that wild. For the squids, I'm saying C tier, because you can't change the optic, making hitting headshots on the overseers, especially the flying ones, just more of a hassle. It's okay-ish on the ground overseer, the voteless, but there's just better options. For the bugs, I'm also saying C tier. I just would rather have buckshot for bugs. Halt shotgun, 385 damage, light pen when using the stun rounds, medium pen when using the non-stun or stagger rounds, and you get 16 shots, but I think they actually alternate what's being fired. This thing to me is C tier. Having to swap between the modes is just a hassle at the moment. You can do some stuff to work around it a little bit. It's still not very good. And the stun rounds, in a team setting, it's neat. Don't get it twisted. But for individual use, it's D tier on all the factions. Cookout, 320 damage, light armor pen, 16 shell capacity, and incendiary ammunition. I believe that shotguns have a greater chance of lighting things on fire because the individual pellets themselves and the buckshot are contributing a lot to the fire proc chance. For the bugs, A tier. You stagger all things you need to, alpha commanders, stalkers, all things below that as well. That gives you time to chill. And when you shoot them, they're likely to be on fire, and for most enemies, 1 proc, so 1 full fire duration will kill them, and for hive guards it's 2, alpha commanders it's 3. For the automatons, it is D tier. A buckshot shotgun is simply not a wise choice, unless you get some crazy spread reduction. For the Illuminate, it is C tier. Bolus is okay, but this is an older clip where you don't have as many running you down. Incendiary Breaker. You got 240 damage, light armor pen, 26 mag capacity. You can change it to being 13, 16, same as the breaker, and incendiary ammunition. So it has the same fire proc chance as a cookout, but you don't have the same stagger force. So if you're facing, let's say, on the bug faction, alpha commanders and stalkers, they don't get staggered. They're going to keep pushing towards you. So if you can hit your shots well, that won't be a big deal. But it is a factor to keep in mind. For the bugs, I'm saying B tier because I like a stagger. But it makes up for that being a lot better at killing, let's say, hive guards and other smaller bugs. On squids, it's B tier. You have a lot better time lighting volus on fire because you have a faster fire rate, and the same thing applies to the flying overseers with extra ammo. 26 times 4 or 5 is a lot more than just 60. It's going to be roughly 125-ish. And on bots, I feel like it has worse spread even when you have full choke than the breaker. I'm putting it in D tier for that reason. Scythe, 350 damage, light armor pen, beam weapon that does overheat. You can get attachment to increase the heat sink, which is the better one, giving you a lot more time before it does happen. A lot more time in quotations here. This thing is C tier for the automatons. You can beam Billy Bobs, Devastator heads, rocket strider rockets, and even legs on scout striders, but the damage output is nowhere near as good as you may think it is. And even when you do kill things, the heat sink, the overheat builds up very quickly. It does not cool down that well either. So you can focus on cold plants to make that better for yourself, but that seems very strict and restricting rather. Now for the squids, D tier. You're always getting angle deflection when hitting the flesh of the voteless. I don't know if that is reducing your damage, but I feel like it might be. And your time to kill for overseers is terrible. Now you can focus on lighting them on fire, which would be a better idea, since, by the way, when you beam things for a certain amount of time, you can then set them ablaze. Fire damage is very good. So if that's your speed, go nuts. For the bugs, also D tier. You can't stagger anything. Hunters jump on you, you have a freaking laser pointer, they don't care. They're going to kill you. And no stagger, even on hunters, is brutal, while also taking more time to kill those guys. No matter how efficient you are, the weapon will not be that impactful, unfortunately. Sickle, 55 damage, light armor pen, and it can overheat. Very quickly, actually. This gun had a bug at one point in time, letting you fire it infinitely, and truth be told, it still didn't feel that wild. And for that reason, and playing it a lot throughout my time in the game, I say it's C tier for automatons. For the bugs and the squids, D tier. Because there's really not a whole lot going on with that low damage. Punisher, 405 damage, light armor pen, 16 shell capacity. You can do full choke, half choke, and duckbill. With full choke, it doesn't feel as good as the M98 shotgun, but it's still B tier for the bugs. Main purpose, using it to stagger stalkers and killing smaller bugs in one shot if they're somewhat close. For the bots and Illuminate, it's D tier, for the same reasons as the other pump shotgun being not ideal. Constitution, 180 damage, medium pin, 5 round capacity. Rounds reload, so no wasting ammunition, but there isn't a speed loader, so there's no stripper magazine or anything like that. Bayonets equipped, so you can stagger stalkers, alpha commanders, and I guess devastators a little bit. There's no scope though, which means you'll be less accurate. For the automatons, it is D tier. If you had a scope, I'd probably put it in B tier, because at least that way, if you hit your shots, you're killing things quickly. If you had a stripper magazine and you reload faster, it'd also be a bit higher in other respects. For the bugs, trash panda tier. You don't have the ability to handle much of anything, realistically speaking. For the squids, trash panda tier. Same thing applies. Takes you 2 shots to hit the heads on overseers, and for those guys, you'll really notice the lack of a scope. Breaker, spray and pray, 240 damage, light armor pin. The capacity goes from 13, 16, 26. It just never felt as good as the breaker, which isn't God's gift to Earth either. For the bugs, C tier. For the bots and Illuminate, D tier. The remaining weapons are rather mundane. It's not an issue of they're not as good as the best guns. It's more so they're just not interesting. They don't do many things remotely engaging, and some of them actually serve a detrimental purpose versus a positive one. SMGs, for instance, give you extra sway now, so if you're using the one-handed feature, you're just going to be even less accurate. You've also got increased drag, meaning your shots do less damage as the bullet travels. ARs have horribly unsmooth scopes when firing the gun automatically, which just does not lead to a good experience. And in a lot of cases, you're better off using ARs and SMGs like a budget marksman rifle. So you don't get benefit from going and essentially spraying and praying with an AR or SMG. Why take them in the first place, unless it's just a preference? Liberator carbine, 80 damage, light pin, 30, 45, or 60 round magazine. C tier for all factions. Tenderizer. You can't change the magazine, but it's 105 damage, light penetration, 35 rounds. C tier, all factions. The adjudicator, 95 damage, medium pin that doesn't change anything remotely meaningful, 30 round magazine, but you can have a 10x scope. C tier, all factions. Liberator, 80 damage, light penetration, 30, 45, and 60 round magazine. Are you seeing a trend here? They're just so similar, it's crazy. C tier, all factions. The penetrator, 60 damage, medium armor penetration, 30, 45, and 60 round magazine. C tier, all factions. Liberator concussive, 65 damage, light armor pin, the same mags as pretty much every other AR, 22 recoil, and you can stagger things a bit better than other guns, but less damage. To me, D tier for all factions. MA5C Halo Assault Rifle, 80 damage, medium penetration, 32 round magazine, and 0 chance of adding any customization whatsoever. You also get no scope. It's barely C tier for all factions. STA 52 Assault Rifle, 80 damage, light penetration, 56 round magazine, and no chance of customization. No scope whatsoever. It is D tier for automatons and C tier for every other faction. STA-11 SMG, 70 damage, light penetration, 48 rounds, no customization whatsoever. Both these guns are from the Killzone Warbond. D tier, all factions. M7S Halo SMG, 70 damage, light penetration, suppressed, which doesn't do a whole lot at the moment, 48 round magazine, and no customization. Trash Panda tier for all factions. It's $15, not good. Knight SMG, 70 damage, light penetration, 50 to 70 round magazine, and recoil is not too shabby, fire rate's really fast. It's C tier, all factions. Actually, could be D tier for automatons. The ammunition you blow through is crazy. Defender, 80 damage, light penetration, 45 round magazine that I don't believe can be changed at all. D tier for every faction. And the Pummeler SMG, 70 damage, 45 round capacity, light penetration, and it's supposed to stun things. It's not very good at doing that. This is Trash Panda tier for every faction. That is every primary weapon ranked in Helldivers 2 for all factions, and the editing alone took forever. So if you like the video, leave a like on the video, and consider getting some... Jeez Louise. Consider getting some stickers to support your boy's speech impediment. My goodness, I can't speak. It's a labor of love. You don't understand. It's probably an hour to record a minute of good audio sometimes. It's really sad. I'm working on it though. It's getting slightly better. Now, I will also mention I wanted to have footage for the weapons next to them as I talked about them. Some of the weapons I didn't. Main reason is I'm afraid to launch the game. It is what it is. There's a current coincidence causing issues, and it involves Helldivers 2. I'm going to not risk it, so to speak. And I've also recently upgraded from 1080p to 1440p, so a ton of my old footage that I had to get deleted. I didn't have space on my SSDs. So, yeah. And my old PC case didn't really have too much space. The motherboard wasn't great for having more SSDs, and the case itself made it really tough to add more as well. New one should be better in that regard. Anywho, Thank you all for watching. I appreciate your time, and have a good day.